What if there's a secret that can set you free from type 2 diabetes in just 10 weeks? Sounds impossible, right? But I'm here to show you how and why this is not a fantasy. When I first learned about the power of a low carbohydrate approach, I couldn't believe that something so basic could turn lives around in such a short time. Yet research points to more than 100 solid studies, true clinical trials, backing up this idea. Imagine this. In the largest trial of its kind, 300 people who had been living with type 2 diabetes for an average of over 8 years took part in a specific program. Over half of them reversed their condition in just 10 weeks. Yes, more than half. And almost all cut back on some or all of their medication by the end of that year. That is a stunning rate of success, especially when the usual standard of care sees almost no one reverse diabetes. Now, let's uncover why most people never hear this. Top health groups and media sources rarely highlight diet-based success stories, even though the findings are there. We see stories about drugs all the time, but how often do we see front-page news about stopping diabetes with simple meal changes? There's a reason. Some key funding for these big groups comes from drug makers who have little reason to promote a simple fix like dietary change. The good news is, you can get real results by cutting back on carbs. Many labels mislead us. A box might claim 0 sugar, but the starch can be huge, turning into sugar once it enters your body. When you fill your diet with breads, pasta, cereal, or other starch-heavy foods, your bloodstream floods with glucose. Then your body can't tap into its own fat for energy. That's one reason you might feel hungry soon after a big bowl of noodles. Carbs keep you on a blood sugar roller coaster. By switching to meals centered on meat, fish, eggs, dairy, leafy greens, and other non-starchy vegetables, you give your system a chance to burn fat. How does this work so fast? It's because insulin levels drop when you reduce carbs, which lets you use your fat stores for energy. Think of body fat as a spare fuel tank. Once you cut back on glucose, your cells switch to burning stored fat instead. This brings blood sugar down, and many also see lower blood pressure. That's why the data for reversing type 2 diabetes with a low-carb plan is so strong. You can see results in as little as 10 weeks. Is this accepted by most doctors? Many never learned it in their training. They were told that diet advice fails, but that's because it was usually eat low fat, which can still be high in carbs. A sandwich made with whole grain bread can hold a big load of starch. It might look healthy, but it pumps sugar into your system. That's not the way to fix blood sugar. A low-carb approach, though, can bring quick changes. Some professionals fear that eating more protein and fat might hurt your heart, but that view often comes from old ideas. Studies now show that people on a low-carb plan can get improved markers for heart health, including better triglycerides. Conflicts of interest also play a role. Some experts who set policy for national food guidelines have direct ties to big drug or food firms. This can sway what ends up in official rules. If guidelines push cereals, breads, and starchy produce while limiting natural fats, it's no shock we see more insulin resistance. Your body can't handle that flood of glucose day after day. Some people think we might fix chronic disease by removing food additives. That might help, but it's not the main driver for reversing type 2 diabetes. The real issue is the huge amount of carbs in our diets. When you replace starch and sugar with real foods like meat, fish, eggs, cheese, or low-sugar vegetables, your tests can improve fast. One critical test to ask about is your fasting insulin level. You can have normal blood sugar but still have high insulin for years. That means you could be heading for diabetes long before a standard test flags it. By asking for a fasting insulin check, you can spot a hidden problem early. That gives you time to act before diabetes sets in. This is one of the best tools we have to see metabolic issues that might not show up on routine tests. Here's another secret that might surprise you. A diet lower in carbs can also keep you from feeling hungry all day. Protein and fat are more filling, while carbs spark hunger again soon after you eat. It's not about eating less. It's about choosing foods that help balance your blood sugar and let you tap into stored fat. I want to mention something from research. There's a simple supplement called Ultrabeet that features beetroot extract. Studies suggest beetroot can help with blood pressure and glucose control. But if you don't like the taste of beets, this supplement is an easy-to-swallow capsule. I've added a link in the description with a coupon code if you want to check it out. It's not a magic cure by itself. No pill can beat real food, but it can support your routine. Does it sound too simple to be true? Some might say yes, but ask yourself if it's harder to stay on meds forever or to try a new plan for 10 weeks. This isn't extreme. It's about giving your body the chance to burn its own fat. Many people see a big drop in meds within weeks. Others report more energy and better moods. And the best part is, you don't have to wait long. Changes can appear in days. Some doctors haven't seen this because they told patients to eat low fat, which fails for many. It's easy to think any diet plan won't work, but low carb is different. The body was never meant to run on endless amounts of glucose. That's why so many develop high blood sugar. Once you cut carbs, you break that cycle. If you're listening now and feel a spark of hope, tell me in the comments how you plan to start. Every success story helps someone else. We live in a world full of ads, but the real truth is that low carb has been tested in more than 100 studies. These weren't quick surveys. They were real clinical trials with actual data, often over months or longer. We already have enough proof to begin. There's no need to wait for more. People who have done this report steady weight loss, lower fasting blood glucose, and less need for meds. They say it was easier than they expected because hunger goes down once insulin drops. The body can finally tap stored fat. We all want answers, and it's time to see that our standard guidelines have not worked. Many top groups still say cut fat, but that plan hasn't helped us beat chronic disease. In fact, it's gotten worse. Low carb works, and it can set you free from type 2 diabetes in around 10 weeks, according to the biggest trials on record. If big agencies call it risky, look for real data backing those claims. Often there isn't any. It might be a soundbite meant to scare people, but the science is clear. Low carb is one of the most studied ways of eating, and it's not magic. It's just how our bodies work when we limit sugar and starch. This is not about hype. It's about giving your body the fuel it was designed to use. Humans did not evolve on bags of chips or bowls of cereal. When you lower carbs, your body can reset. Soon you might cut your meds or leave them behind. That's not just talk. It's supported by data. For many, the first step is removing bread, pasta, cereal, and sweets. Then focus on eggs, meat, cheese, fish, nuts, butter, and non-starchy vegetables. You might think you'll miss carbs, but once you feel your blood sugar steady, those cravings fade. Even starchy foods like potatoes or corn can be swapped for lower carb options. There's no need to be bored. Your taste buds will adjust. We deserve clear answers and real solutions. Low carb does what prescription drugs alone do not. It tackles the source. The proof is in many randomized trials. Over half of long-term type 2 diabetes cases reversed in only 10 weeks. That could be you. Why wait? Thank you for hearing me out. Let me know your thoughts below. I hope you can sense my passion for this method because it works, and it's based on real data. If you give this a shot, you may find yourself with better energy, a slimmer waist, and fewer meds. This is the secret to reversing type 2 diabetes in just 10 weeks. You have more power over your health than you might think. Good luck and take care of yourself. One shocking fact is that the standard approach to diabetes often leads to years of medication with almost no full reversal. Studies show that the success rate for ending a type 2 diabetes diagnosis with typical methods stands near zero.